Good morning and good afternoon to everyone connected from around the world. Welcome to this webinar focused on the women's economic empowerment, one of the pillars of the UN 2030 agenda. My name is Laurent Franciosi. I'm the head of the International Business Support at Cassa Depositi e Prestiti, CDP, the National Promotional Institution, focusing on the sustainable and inclusive development of the public and private sector in Italy and abroad, including your countries. I'm glad to welcome today entrepreneurs, managers, and consultants connected from different countries through the Business Matching Platform, the tool developed by CDP in partnership with the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I leave the floor to Carlotta Giarola to know more on this event and the related partners.
Thank you. Good morning and good afternoon to everyone. Diversity, equity, and inclusion are key priorities within our institution. And today we will hear from our different speakers the challenges of women-led companies. We are sure that those success stories will be inspiring for our audience. Last but not least, you will be introduced to some of the most accessible tools that are built to support the entrepreneurial development throughout innovation and internationalization. We believe that this mix of top-down and bottom-up approaches will generate fruitful synergies and practical opportunities for all the SMEs connected today, with the final goal of supporting female entrepreneurship. Following the event, today and tomorrow, we will be holding B2B meetings on our matching platform among women-led companies that are participating in the event.
We have a very rich agenda today with several special guests joining us from around the world, representing institutions, companies, and the partners supporting this initiative: CIMEST, SACE, Women 20, Coani, and Italian Association Inclusione Donna. And now we would like to officially open this webinar by welcoming the Chief of European and International Affairs of CDP and President of CIMEST, Pasquale Salzano, for the opening remarks. Buongiorno, Presidente.
Buongiorno a tutti. Dear Chair,
thank you very much for being here. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Dear Chair Ibu Uli Silalawi, Ibu Maya Iwita, Dr. Pam Rajput, distinguished participants, I'm pleased to welcome you to the digital event CDP Business Matching, supporting the internationalization of women-led companies, organized by Cassa Depositi e Prestiti in collaboration with Women 20 Indonesia, with the support of CIMEST, SACE, the Indonesian National Council of Women, the International Chamber of Commerce, and Inclusione Donna. I'm particularly grateful to the Italian embassies in New Delhi, Tokyo, Rabat, Mexico City, Jakarta, and Italian consulates in Casablanca and Hong Kong for their cooperation and constant support in promoting this important initiative. Amid the intersecting crisis of COVID-19, the climate emergency, and rising economic and political insecurity, progress on gender equality has not only failed to move forward, but has begun to reverse. The time to act and invest in women's empowerment is now. Women's economic empowerment and financial inclusion have been recognized as crucial to achieve the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. In this context, Cassa Depositi e Prestiti Group reshaped its activities in order to contribute to the achievement of the SDGs. In particular, the fifth goal, gender equality and empowering all women and girls. First of all, I would like to point out that CDP is increasingly reflecting on the role we can play on diversity, equity, and inclusion, both internally and in society at large. Women empowerment is one of the main objectives of our 2022-2024 strategic plan. Just one figure. 42% of the CDP group staff are women. Moreover, last September, CDP introduced the internal policy Diversity, Equity and Inclusion, aimed both at increasing corporate welfare and fostering business initiatives to ensure a positive social impact. CDP Group's engagement is not limited within our borders. The global promotion of gender equality can lead to significant macroeconomic impact, increasing national productivity and gross domestic product. Nevertheless, according to World Bank's report Women, Business and the Law 2022, women globally earn around 37% less than women in similar roles. 24 billion women do not have equal economic opportunities, and in 178 countries, there are legal barriers that prevent their full economic participation. This is why CDP carries out international scale projects to ensure gender inclusion and women empowerment through the development of finance instruments strongly oriented towards social issues. CDP aims to increase women's presence on business matching, the new digital platform jointly developed by CDP, the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and CIMEST, with the aim of facilitating trade exchange and economic ties between Italian and foreign companies, with a special focus on SMEs. Let me remind you that we hosted at CDP headquarters in Rome on 13 May, the delegation of Women 20, the W20 chair of Indonesia, Ibu Uli Silalawi, the Indian W20 head of delegation, Par Rajput, and some Italian W20 delegates took part in the meeting and declared their commitment to support our initiative. We are working intensively to facilitate the participation of business women on the platform and networking among themselves, contributing to bridge the gender digital gap. Today's webinar has the objective to provide a comprehensive overview both on the platform and the development finance instruments to promote female entrepreneurs. I'm sure that thanks to this initiative, we are contributing with concrete actions to women's economic empowerment. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you every success in your business.
Thank you, President Salzano. Thank you for your words and for having reminded us that CDP recently introduced the policy Diversity, Equity and Inclusion, aimed both at increasing corporate welfare and fostering business initiatives to ensure a positive social impact. Arrivederci.
Arrivederci.
And now, join us from Jakarta is Ibu Uli Silalai, Chair of the Women 20 Indonesia, the official G20 engagement group that established a women's empowerment network to encourage the adoption of G20 commitments on women's issues. Good morning, Ibu Uli. The floor is yours.
Good morning. Allow me to send my greetings to Mr. Pasquale Salzano, Chief of European and International Affairs of CDP and President of Siemens. Antonella Baldino, Head of International Cooperation and Development Financing CDP, and my sister, Anna Maria Targaglia, W20 Head of the Italian Delegation and W7 Advisor, and also other distinguished speakers and participants of the digital event today. Women in the entrepreneurial scene are prone to subconscious bias, lack of financial resources, and lack of data knowledge sharing or event ecosystem in general. Through the findings in the W20 communique development, it is clear that a specific policy framework and ecosystem on women entrepreneurships is essential to accelerate women-owned and lead MSMEs growth. We also highlight that it is a necessity to provide access to finance, including alternative systems of collateral and access to markets such as corporate and public procurements, and also to international trade and e-commerce. As I mentioned, CDP has published a business matching as a platform to connect Italian companies with international partners. This is time. The scope is broadened to Indonesia. Therefore, will enhance and expand the business opportunities between the two countries. It is very delightful for me upon knowing that CDP has proposed that W20 Indonesia contribute in ensuring women business most purpose to ensure women SMEs receive proper and equal opportunity. Through this platform, women business can find new customers, develop strategic partnerships, and participate in events that will encourage knowledge sharing. Today marks a very crucial moment for cross-border collaboration between Indonesia and Italy. Through KOWANI, National Council of Women Indonesia, we are giving visibility to Indonesian women business to join and benefit from the connectivity that flourishes from the platform. Therefore, I'm welcoming women business that are present in this event to register your business. Later on the event, CDP will explain further about the platform, the ability, and how your businesses can benefit from this B2B program. I really hope and encourage that many businesses will be excited to participate. When it comes to women empowerment in the economic sector, we have a great challenges, but also great opportunities. With everybody's contributions, I'm sure the way ahead is a promising one. When women are empowered, the nation empowers. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Ibu Uli, for having underlined that the economic empowerment is fundamental to a prosperous world and essential for economic growth, a stable economy, and a social development. I'd like to thank really both speakers for introducing to our audience some of the topics we will discuss today. As well known this year, Indonesia is the host country of the G20. And today we have the opportunity to speak about the commitment of the B20, the Business 20 Engagement Group, to diversity and inclusion through the Women in Business Action Council. Isn't it, Carlotta?
Yes, sure. Thus, we are honored to introduce Ibu Maya Juwita, Executive Director of Indonesia Business Coalition for Women Empowerment and Policy Manager of Business 20 Indonesia Women in Business Action Council. Good afternoon, Ibu Maya Juwita. Please,
good afternoon, Lauren and Carlotta.
Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. May I have the slides to be up? Okay. Thank you so much. So good afternoon from Jakarta, everyone. I know it's still morning in Italy. Today, I would like to present the policy recommendation from the B20 Indonesia as one of them is it's becoming the legacy program from the B20 Indonesia presidency. So the slides is actually summarize the focus of the Indonesia Women in Business Action Councils. This is based on the hard fact and data around global trend, documented challenges facing women in business. And in summary, enormous opportunities for individuals, society, and economies can be realized if gender equality in work can be achieved both in terms of workforce equality and workplace equality. It is estimated that $28 trillion in GDP growth with the equal participation of women and men in the global economy. However, persistent challenges remain, which have been exacerbated by COVID-19. Many of these are not new and have been raised in previous G20 and B20, as well as other fora, including the W20. Under the Indonesia G20 presidency, the Women in Business Action Councils recommends proven and actionable steps that G20 government can take to improve gender equality in the workforce, as well as practical steps to build, accelerate, and scale women-led businesses from subsistence to growth. This will support job creation, help bring more women out of poverty, enable more innovation, and help further spur social and economic development. From the slides, you could see that our recommendations are focused on 3 policy objectives. One is empowering women entrepreneurs. This involves 2 policy levers that creating a conducive ecosystem for women entrepreneurs that enable access to finance, legal, and other technical assistance. So it's include, first, it's identify and establish the critical ecosystem that enable access to finance, legal, and other entrepreneurial technical assistance. So one of that is women needs the digital skills and access to the infrastructure, such as internet, computer, tablet, phone, etc., to be active in participant in digital economy. It is the paramount important that the G20 government invest in digital infrastructure so women can access online format MSME education program that address strategy and planning and leverage e-commerce to grow their businesses. In increasingly digital world where financing can available through non-traditional means, fintech lending companies can also be an alternative source for financing that women can tap into. One other thing that we also focus that global public procurement represent on average 13 to 20% of gross domestic product, and corporations spend trillions of dollars acquiring goods and services. Gender responsive procurement across value chain has the potential to offer equal opportunities for women enterprises to access market and to promote on the development of women entrepreneurship and economic empowerment. WBAC urges G20 government to adopt a minimum threshold of 3% of public and private sector procurement to women-led businesses. This will set the right pace for gender parity within global supply chains. The second one, it's about developing a global women business network to stimulate cross-border knowledge sharing and investment into women-run business, which I will explain on the second page. You need to wait for a minute because let me bring you through the second objective of our policy recommendation. The second one is about enabling women's digital and leadership capabilities. This involves 2 policy levers. First is equipping more girls with STEM skill and increasing and accelerating women access to digital skills. So equipping women with digital science and technology skill is the first step to ensuring gender parity and securing women a place within the formal economy. G20 government must also undertake measures to ensure that these capable women are presented with fair and equal opportunities at the workplace, allowing them to flourish and undertake leadership responsibility. The other one is about stereotypical perception that hold women back are reinforced through the media. Studies have shown that exposure to media portrayal can contribute to or to reinforce viewers' occupational knowledge, career socialization, and even gender stereotyping attitude belief about work. The second one is about strengthening skill for women to undertake leadership role and facilitate agreement on common gender reporting to improve transparency. So formal leadership skill training and on the job opportunities are critical for women to undertake leadership role. Steps needs to be taken to encourage organization to deliver on this opportunity, as these remain barriers such as gender stereotypes around the choices of occupation for women, a lack of female role models, the boys club, and close network, as well as women's own view on their capability. I think the other one is also government must collect, review, and identify best practices to capture, report, and communicate non-financial disclosure. And gender reporting metric on fair representation for use by business, government, and other organizations should align to the Brisbane 25 by 25 target as amended under the G20 Italy presidency. This convergence should be informed by leading institutions and government, defining the gold standard for reporting on fair representation. The third one on our objective is about promoting safe and equitable workplace. This involves two policy levers. First is improving job security for female workers in the informal economy, including in rural economy. The second one, developing policy strategy and systematic approach to prevent gender-based violence and provide assistance to the victims in the workplace. So I think that's the policy recommendation. Maybe go through to the second page of my presentation. No, this one. Okay. So on our first policy objective, we are also recommending to develop a global women business network to stimulate cross-border knowledge sharing and investment into women-run businesses. WIBAG proposes to establish what we call as the One Global Woman Empowerment, or OGWE, that's what we call it, as the platform. The goal is to establish a permanent body supported by a secretariat and technology that will connect relevant stakeholders and provide for real-time best practices to accelerate the impactful inclusion of women and women-led businesses in the global economy. The network will act as the bridge between the G20 and B20 presidencies outcome, ensuring continuation of efforts from Indonesia to India, Brazil, and beyond. We will reliably share how the digitalization can address end-to-end needs, including access to digital skill development, facilitate access to cross-border financing, investment, market, suppliers, link women to leadership development and training, provide technical support, including access to coaching, business mentoring, training, legal support, and other technical assistance for women-led business. It will also champion female role models to inspire women and girls worldwide. Coaching, in particular, can help budding leaders gain more confidence and overcome the lack of trust that affect women's performance in a highly competitive environment. Those two slides is basically the summary of the policy recommendation from B20 Indonesia for the G20 leaders, and hopefully this can be continued on the next presidency. So women in the business can also be equally accessed for the global economy. So I think that's the summary from me. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share our policy recommendation on CDP. Back to you, Carlota and Lawrence. Thank you.
Thank you for being here with us today.
And now, taking care of the policy recommendations delivered by Ibu Maya, let's dive into the first panel, Women in International Business, the importance of supporting female entrepreneurship.
Good morning and welcome to our guest. Good morning. Let me begin with Antonella Baldino, Head of International Cooperation and Development Finance at CDP. Buongiorno, Antonella. What are your suggestions? Buongiorno, Antonella.
Buongiorno to all of you. Thank you, Carlotta. And first of all, let me say how pleased I am to be here today participating in this webinar representing CDP in its dual role as the Italian National Promotional Bank and Development Finance Institution, a DFI. As a DFI, we have an international footprint and we provide a wide range of integrated financial solutions to support initiatives in partner countries that contribute to the SDGs and the Paris Agreement target. Within this framework, a central theme is represented by the promotion of gender equality, means to create equitable, resilient, and sustainable economies and societies. We all know that we still have far to go until women's economic empowerment and entrepreneurial initiatives are as prominent as they should be. Emblematic of this, women-led SMEs worldwide face a $320 billion shortfall in access to credit, despite statistics showing that women have lower non-performing loan rates than men. And studies also shows that closing the gender labor gap could add $28 trillion or 26% to annual global GDP by 2025. So DFI can then play a pivotal role to effect the changes needed to address these global challenges by channeling and mobilizing both public and private capital, reducing the funding gap, leveraging on blended finance and technical assistance, and ensuring traceability and transparency, establishing a common code, a common language, and common standards for the evaluation of investments under the so-called gender lens, since this is a precondition for taking truly effective action in this field. And precisely because we recognize the importance of this approach, CDP was among the founding members of the 2X Challenge, a joint initiative launched by the G7 DFIs back in 2018, which then evolved into the 2X Collaborative, convening a full spectrum of investors, capital providers, and mobilizers, with a collective commitment on the target volume of resources mobilization and applying a common set of indicators to define gender lens investment. The 2X Challenge registered significant results. Indeed, between 2018 and 2020, investors participating in the initiative were able to mobilize over $11 billion in developing and emerging countries, surpassing the original $3 billion target. A new $15 billion collective target was then announced for the period 21-22 by the partners of the 2X Collaborative. To give you an idea of CDP contribution to this target, let me mention two very different examples of projects promoted in the field of women empowerment and entrepreneurship in developing countries. First, a 60 million euro co-financing facility provided by CDP and by the French DFI protocol to PAMECAS, one of the leading microfinance institutions in Senegal. The facility was designed in order to support the development of microcredit programs, 30% of which target female entrepreneurship, with the overall goal of fostering financial inclusion in the region and the growth of the women-led MSMEs. A second example is, I want to mention, is the participation of CDP to the $600 million syndicated loan facility in favor of Ghana Cocoa Board to boost the sector productivity while also promoting women's economic empowerment in the region and strengthening the pivotal role in the cocoa industry. So positive result, however, we are aware that much remains still to be done. We need to be more ambitious and selective, both in terms of volume and in terms of impact required when talking about gender lens investment. And let me conclude with a personal consideration. As the challenge we face are becoming increasingly more complex and global, the need for female leadership has, in many ways, never been greater than it is today. We can only make progress by working together across countries, across sectors, across disciplines, fully involving public institutions, businesses, the civil society organizations, and the financial system, just as we see here in today's panel. Amid the turbulence of our current time, I'm firmly convinced that the empowerment of women can only be a force for good. So thank you very much for your attention, and back to you, Carlotta.
Thank you very much, Antonella, for your words and for having pointed out the crucial role that CDP as development finance institution can play in promoting women's economic empowerment. And now let me move to Professor De Donno, Secretary General of the International Chamber of Commerce Italy, the Italian National Committee of the ICC, and Comparative Law Professor at Lewis University. Good morning, Professor De Donno. We are starting to see some patterns and ideas. What can the International Chamber of Commerce do to support female entrepreneurship, also from a legal point of view? Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Carlotta, and good morning, everybody. First of all, I have to thank Cassa Depositi and Prestiti for inviting ICC Italia, which I represent here, to this event on business matching. I can say that there is a matching of common interests of Cassa and ICC towards the internationalization of Italian companies. Then I have to point out that ICC Italia is the only gateway for Italian companies of any size and industry and professionals to the International Chamber of Commerce Global Network. ICC, born in 1919, represents now more than 45 million companies in more than 150 countries through national committees, as the Italian one, all non-profit organizations. And ICC national committees are also present in the countries represented here or of interest to the platform: Indonesia, India, China, Japan, Morocco, Mexico. Indonesia is also one of the pilot countries, with Japan, France, and Germany engaged in the ICC trade digitalization project. ICC is supported by 13 thematic commissions to carry out activities of policymaker, information, education, and advocacy at national and international level. ICC has a long experience in international arbitration and the new Lex Mercatoria, which is summarized in the codification of globally recognized and used standards for international trade, such as the Incoterms, the UCP 600, and collateral topics, custom, tax, competition, IP, environment, energy, CSR, anti-corruption, not least digitalization and agri-food. In doing that, ICC plays a leading role in economic diplomacy as it dialogues with states, UN agencies, WTO, OECD, giving the private sector a voice on the national and international scene. It is not by chance that ICC will hold in November the executive board meeting in Bali at the same time as B20 and G20 in Indonesia. On the specific subject of this meeting, I was asked where and how ICC promote gender diversity in the business. I can say that ICC takes every opportunity to make governments and the private sector work together by speeding up the achievement of the UN global goals toward gender equality and reduced inequalities. First, ICC helps promote pragmatic guidelines, such as the United Nations Women's Empowerment Principles. It also helps to raise awareness of the need for women's empowerment within the B20 process. Then, the ICC World Chambers Federation itself benefits from the diversity of its membership and works to improve the economic empowerment of women and other underrepresented groups in the global workforce. This, since ICC believes that chambers of commerce are an essential and credible intermediary between government, business, and the general public. And more, ICC signed in 2018 the ICC Gender Balance Pledge, which commits the World Business Organization to increase gender diversity in panel discussions at conferences in which ICC participates. In addition, contributing to these global efforts, World Business Women, an ICC staff-led initiative, works to ensure that ICC's internal policies, leadership, and representative bodies better reflect the gender diversity of the business and professional world. Regarding arbitration, While the course bureau has perfect gender parity, women are still underrepresented in ICC tribunals. In 2019, 21% of all arbitrators were women, 21% out of 972 arbitrators coming from 89 countries. The disclosure of statistics on the gender balance of ICC tribunals is part of an ICC ongoing strategy to enhance the diversity of ICC tribunals and, more generally, the transparency of international arbitration. Moreover, this year, ICC elected Claudia Salomon as the first ever woman president of the ICC International Court of Arbitration, and the World Council of International Chamber of Commerce, during its meeting in Mexico, unanimously elected ICC chair Maria Fernanda Garza, a Mexican businesswoman. Let me remind you that on October 17, Claudia Salomon will be the guest speaker of a virtual cafe reserved for Italian corporate lawyers, whom I have the pleasure of inviting here. Finally, ICC's broader inclusion must also focus on LGBTQIA diversity. The broad ICC goal is to advocate for a more inclusive and diverse workplace as a driver of creativity, innovation, and economic growth. That's all from ICC Italy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor De Donno. Thank you for having provided us the legal point of view on our topic. Arrivederci. And now we are glad today to have with us Anna Maria Tartaglia, Women 20 Deputy Head of the Italian Delegation and Women 7 Advisor. Buongiorno, Anna Maria.
Ciao, Carlotta.
Buongiorno. What are the main outcomes and learnings from Women 20 and Women 7 prestigious experiences? Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So I am very happy to be here with all my colleagues and also to have heard before Uli and the person representing B20 and then after me, Pam, because we are all on the same track. I want to add only before starting with the recommendation coming from the communiqué delivered by W20 and W7 to add one data that is very important, that is focused on women entrepreneurs. Women entrepreneurs have the potential to add $13 trillion to the global economy by 2030. And this is a McKinsey research, and this will mean that we as women entrepreneurs can help the humanity to build forward better and contribute also to the government tax revenues. In some cases, before Uli presented to you some key point of the W20 communiqué, and I want to add one point that is focused on how the government need to provide opportunities and incentives for women-owned and lead solo, micro, small, and medium enterprise to participate in emerging opportunities like digital innovation, artificial intelligence, green, blue technology, green energy, and also STEM. And when I say STEM, means science, technology, engineering, mechanics, but also arts, because we have not to forget that we are leading as women, as human, some digital business. And we need to be prepared as human if we want to perform better in this economy and in the new political environment. Also, what we did and we try to recommend as W20 to the government is to commit the $350 million US additional funding to Women Entrepreneurs Finance Initiative called WeFi, launched by the G20 leaders in 2017. Implement this WeFi's Women Entrepreneurs Finance Code in the G20 countries. And this is one of the key points that we are pushing on. Another key point is related to the public procurement, as the B20 also did. Why? Because in this case, the public procurement opportunities for women-owned small and medium-sized enterprises and foster incentive to subcontract with woman-owned small, medium companies is the fact that this kind of business have been suffered and affected more than any other during the pandemic and are in a urgent need of tailored fiscal support packages. We have not to forget how important it is to ensure that human rights for women and gender equality are integrated into the environmental, social, and governance standard. Social and governance standards should receive the same weight as environmental standards in the ongoing ESG decision-making process and in the subsequent implementation process. There is a key point that we want to underline as both W20 and W7 advisors and into our communique has a fundamental point: education. How government has to provide education, mentoring and training system to all levels for women and girls in all their diversity. What does it mean? Mean that government has to commit to achievement by 2026 of the global SDG 4 girls education target to start educating 40 million more girls in low and lower and middle income countries and to teach 20 million more girls to read by the age of 10 with bold pledges across the G7 and G20 to ensure a fully founded global partnership of education. Education is the fundamental way to prepare girls for their future of entrepreneurs and to be totally free and be able to represent themselves in a better way. Last point is why we decided to collaborate into this platform is because for us this represents the great opportunity and the best tool for female entrepreneurs that want to expand their business in different countries. And we are happy to be here with the Indonesian National Council of Women for promoting this. And what I want to say to conclude is this: I hope that many women entrepreneurs will participate on the program because the word sisterhood needs to be transformed in action and not only to remain a word for our better future. Thank you, and thanks, Carlotta.
Yeah, thank you, Anna Maria, for providing us with a broad overview of this year's W20 and W7 commitments and activities. And I would like also to thank you, Anna Maria, for being strongly involved on this journey since the very beginning. And now allow me to move from Milan to Rome to speak with Mariangela Siciliano, Head of Education at SACE, the Italian export credit agency. Mariangela is strongly involved in several activities related to women's economic empowerment and export. So I would like to ask her what are the main takeaways from this wide-ranging experience.
Thanks. Thank you very much, and thanks the panelists that have already spoken, and of course CDP for the invitation. I think today, as the others said, is a great opportunity to remember each other, that women empowerment is one of the most powerful tools we have in our hand to make our economies more competitive and also to make our businesses more competitive. And Antonella and Anna Maria already shared some numbers that are a good indicator of how the impact on our economy should be much stronger if we will manage to fix the gender gap in our society and also in our businesses. SACE, as many of you already know, is the Italian Export Credit Agency. Our mission is help Italian companies to grow basically in Italy and abroad. And what we do is we provide financial and insurance support, but we are also strongly committed to promote sustainable finance among Italian companies. And for us, sustainable finance means taking environmental, social, and governance considerations into account when making decisions about business or making investment decisions. In such a last year, we launched our Women in Export community with the aim of, on one side, promoting the enormous intellectual female capital that revolve around our export. We are used to think that in some sectors like oil and gas, infrastructure, it's very common to see male representative very often to talk in a conference in public environment. But the reality, there are in a huge number of women that drive, lead companies in Italy, but also in international context, in international markets. So the first aim of Women in Export, our community, is promoting our female intellectual capital that exist around our export, and on the other side, helping to break down the barriers that limits women's ability to advance in their career paths. Today, after 1 year, and I'm glad that Anna Maria is with us today, because Anna Maria was one of the first colleagues that joined this journey with us. After 1 year, we have more than 1,000 women that join our community. We did the first mentoring program. Anna Maria before was talking about the importance of mentoring, and we are investing a lot on education, which is another aspect that my previous panelists has touched already. The importance of education, and what we do now is try to do practical support, again, practical support in through upskilling and reskilling programs to compensate, to help our women to improve their digital skills, because the only way to be more confident in getting leadership position is be sure that we have the right competence in place. And this is what we are trying to do with the Women in Export community. I'm very proud of this initiative. And one thing that probably is interesting to mention is that a couple of days ago, we were in Serbia and in Belgrade, and we had the opportunity to launch a working group with all the other ECAs across the world. So not only the European, but also non-European ECAs, with the idea of set the first working group focused on how within our community of ECAs we can improve the rate of women that are in a leadership position or that drive our internationalization strategy. So the last information that I want to give is on 18 October, we will host our annual meeting focused on the link, the strong link between export, internationalization, and women empowerment. So I'm just concluding by saying that gender equality is not just the fifth goal of our agenda, 2030 agenda is again a strong tool that we have in our hands to make sure that our economy is becoming more stronger and more powerful. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mariangela. Women empowerment is an economic imperative, so we look forward to strengthening our collaboration to support women entrepreneurs at national and international level. Well, I would like to thank you all very much for your time and your words, and arrivederci.
Arrivederci, grazie.
Grazie, arrivederci.
Well, before we move to a session dedicated to women-led export companies, we now turn our attention to CDP Business Matching Platform, the tool developed by CDP and the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, and its role in fostering women inclusion and bridging the digital gap. Allow me to introduce Riccardo Onorati Bianchi, Head of Country System Initiative at CDP, to briefly present our business matching platform and its benefits also for the women-led companies. Hi Riccardo, buongiorno.
Hi Carlotta, buongiorno.
So please, the floor is yours.
Grazie Carlotta. Thank you and good afternoon everyone. I'm going to show you a brief presentation, just a couple of slides to introduce the business matching platform, the new digital tool made by CDP, Cassa Depositi e Prestiti, in collaboration with Simest and the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. Let me share the presentation and then I will show you a short video promotional. We have implemented this digital tool in order to strengthen and support the business relations between Italian and foreign companies during an historical period affected by the effects of the pandemic due to COVID, which has impacted on the internationalization process of companies, especially SMEs. As you can see from this slide, the platform was launched in 2021, beginning 2022, with a focus on distant and complex markets such as China, India, and Japan. And now in 2022, we expanded the operation in new countries such as Mexico, Morocco, and Indonesia. And in the coming weeks and months, we will continue to open the instruments to other countries. The platform has been built on three main pillars. The first one, the database, fed by Italian and foreign companies interested in business matching. The second is the matchmaking system, where the algorithm proposes B2B matches evaluating the affinity among registered companies. And then the virtual networking system that allows companies to use the platform to organize and to attend the B2B meetings or digital events, business forum, or webinars such as today. Currently, we have more than 3,000 companies already registered in the platform. 60% are Italian companies, 40% are foreign companies. The platform is, as you can see, is already operating in 6 countries where we have launched the tool in the recent months, as we have seen from the timeline above. In these 6 countries, thanks to the network of more than 30 local partners, we can reach 3.5 million of foreign enterprises, potential interested to meet Italian companies. Soon, we will also start operating the platform in South Korea by the end of this year and in the USA in early 2023. Then, in the next slide, you can see because there are several reasons to register to the platform for the Italian and foreign companies. First of all, because it is a smart and innovative tool that allows companies to meet foreign partners, select according to their business intention and international strategies. It is always active, every single day of the year, and multilingual, with live interpreting services available if needed. The platform is a unique opportunity to benefit of a privileged gateway that allows to contact and to meet Italian business excellence, thanks to the high-quality Italian companies already registered in the platform. Finally, foreign companies registering on the platform will have access to a range of information on the Italian market and will also be able to attend events, webinar, and business forum with Italian companies in sector they are interested in. Finally, during the registration process, you can indicate if you are a women-led company. This will allow us to create a women business community within the platform, and that will benefit of several initiatives such as exclusive B2B sessions and webinars. Then, information documents about the platform can be downloaded from the platform website. You can see in this slide the direct link to the platform. In this last slide, you can also find the partners of the initiative and the references of the customer care you can contact via mail or phone for any information. For further questions, I remain at your disposal. Thank you for your attention. And now let's see together the business matching platform promotional video.
There's a new way to increase your business with Italy. Join CDP Business Matching, the new digital platform connecting your company with selected Italian partners. Join the network and select your business goals. Choose your partners from the suggested matches. And attend your meetings to build new successful partnerships. Participate in digital events and keep up to date with the latest news and trends from the Italian market. CDP Business Matching. Join, discover, grow. Sign up now at businessmatching.cdp.it.
Thank you, Riccardo, for this very detailed presentation and for having underlined that during the registration process, a company can indicate if it's a women-led company. This will allow us to create a women business community within the platform that will benefit of several initiatives, such as exclusive B2B sessions and digital events.
Thank you. Thank you to all. Bye.
As we are getting our panel ready for our next guest speakers, let me remind you that you can already organize your B2B meetings by accepting the proposed matches you will find on your dashboard. I also invite you to come back on the platform to complete the profile and brand pages to consent the algorithm to propose even more accurate matches for you. So feel free to contact us for any questions by phone or email. And now let me welcome our guest for the next roundtable, Women-Led Companies Around the World.
Good morning and good afternoon to everyone. Thank you for being here, joining our roundtable. We are honored to gather some of the most interesting testimonials of what successful female leadership sounds like. In particular, let's discover how 3 leading companies in 3 different regions of the world interpret female leadership in the fashion and clothing industry. We're talking about Keaton from Italy, Janavi from India, and Tobatenun from Indonesia. Let's start welcoming Maria Giovanna Paone, President of Keaton, which represents the Italian excellence of couture. President Paone, how does a company like Keaton promote gender equality within enterprise and towards the society? Please, the floor is yours.
Good morning. I'm Maria Giovanna Paone. I'm president of Keaton, and my father was the founder of the company. And nowadays, I see a completely different world in front of me in terms of female actions of women and in a powerful relations. And it's very important from where we are, but we have to go for sure back at 30 years ago when I started working with my father. At that point, was very difficult to have a position that could be mentioned even in certain tables. So we have to be careful to take the power and educate for sure our new generation, but exactly more than the girls, as we are very proud of and that are ready to take the positions, but we have to educate all the around the society where we live and where we work. In these days, we gain a very good prize because we were the first Italian company to get the certification of gender equality, which we wanted really very strongly. As me and my sister, we are the only 2 daughters of my father, who was the founder of the company. Our company is now growing every year, just step by step, but with very good numbers. This is the factory where we work. You see the picture. And we still have a very hand-curated product completely handmade, from the cut to the end and embroidering of the buttonholes. We started with a men fashion field, and now we are also a woman. We have a women collection, which is growing very, very quickly in the last 3 years. And we are very proud of that. And we feel a little bit less mannish as we were before. Our position of me and my sister in the company is been very slowly entering, but now we have the government of the company, and we have the control of very important fields. Me as a art director of the women's collection, and my sister is managing all the human resources factory and the people working with us, which are about 750 people around the world, and only 450 here in Naples, in Italy, where we still have a very difficult suburb where to live, and where in the condition how the women have to work with, from the school to the society around to the family, which is the first support that we need to have positions in the companies or in a work day. We're working from 8 in the morning till 5 o'clock in the afternoon, but sometimes we have to be late, and late, of course, for the family is always a problem. We both have families, we both have daughters and boys and children, so we take care of the family and we have to take care of the company. It's not easy, but we managed for many years, and we are proud to have done this by step, but for sure with success nowadays. And we are a good example for the ladies that are working with us, and especially for the new generation that are getting inside the company, and look at us as an example of people who survived business life with family business, and of course managing the home situations and all the around the factory problems. Of course, this will be something that I wanted really to achieve since my beginning in the factory, and at the moment I can feel very proud of it. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, President Paone, for being here today for your words.
What an interesting story made of tradition, excellence, quality, combined with the commitment to pursuing gender equality. And now I'm so curious about your next guest, Carlotta, please.
So I would like to welcome Jyotika Jalani, founder and creative director of Janavi India. So Jyotika, buongiorno, good morning. What is Janavi doing to support women empowerment, and how can the CDP business matching platform be useful toward this goal?
Thank you very much for having me on this platform. I'm audible. I'm sitting all the way in Warsaw and not in my own city. I was here on business, also for another women empowerment conference, which was here in Warsaw 2 days ago. I think women empowerment has become a very important topic today worldwide, because women today are I think, in every field. I started my own business 25 years ago, having spent 10 years with the World Bank. And I decided to do something which would create a difference worldwide. Entering the luxury world of fashion was not easy, especially from a country like India. We come from a country which has got a lot of heritage, and our artisans are very, very well trained over the years. But India is very looked at as highly, in culture and in heritage, like Italy is. And for me, it was to go out to brands outside of India, which included lovely brands like Ferragamo, Armani, Chanel and Dior, Hermes, and start working with them. And it was a whole team of people who I gave a vision to, a dream to, that we can put the Made in India label on international brands. So that was the first endeavor, which was fantastic. And for a young woman of 32 to have had that dream and come as far as I have today, I feel very empowered. And I would always say this to every young woman or any woman who wants to do something, start dreaming and make sure that you don't sit back just because you are a woman and you feel that you cannot achieve what you want to do. Because I think today the support and lovely platforms like your own, I'm sure CDP is going to go a long way. I mean, it is a great way of connecting people. The digital world has become so important because after COVID, we were all literally working remotely. How that happened for the last 2 years, I think the world has been redefined as a different place. So platforms like yours, without actually meeting people, if we can meet through a digital platform, and the way your algorithms are going to connect companies without actually knowing the DNA of a person, without meeting them. At one point of time, we all felt that we had to have that physical presence of meeting somebody, with e-commerce becoming the largest way of shopping and, brick and mortar stores not being that important anymore. I think the world is changing. I think to empower women, one of the most important things is a woman, I think, comes as a package. She believes in herself because she can be a mother, a daughter. And as far as in the field of business, I think she's not any less than that of a man. And I think today, in every segment, a woman has been given, whether as a prime minister or president of a country or a head of a state. I am today chairing the Indo-Italian Chamber of Commerce in the fashion and lifestyle. And I really want to make a change there. And that was one of the reasons why I connected with Carlotta. And I'm here on this platform. And I do hope we can all collectively make a change. Thank you very much. If there's any question, Carlotta, or you would like me to say something which would bring together this forum, which is so amazing, I'd love to do so.
Thank you, Jatika. Thank you for your time, for your words, and for having shared your experience. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now let us finish with this panel with our third international business guest, Ibu Kerry Nabazaria, CEO of Tobatenun from Indonesia. Good morning, Ibu Kerry. We've heard strong and inspiring words today from our colleagues in Indonesia, which hold such an important role this year. What is your experience from the business side at Tobatenun? Please, the floor is yours.
Good morning, Carlotta, Lauren. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, or good. I'm actually in Rome at the moment, so I'm actually the same place where this event is anchored in. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Karina Basaria, CEO and founder of Tobatanun. It's very humbling for me to be able to share a platform or a panel with my seniors who's been in the industry far longer than I have. So thank you so much for this opportunity. It's hard to introduce Tobatanun without telling you a little bit about myself, as my mother and I both found it for our love for the women of our tribe and the work they do to keep our culture and identity alive. I'm Batak Toba, or Toba to be exact. We're a subgroup of indigenous people from Lake Toba in North Sumatra in Indonesia. For us, weaving is not just an artistic expression or done out of necessity. It is woven into our very being. Our mothers are given it before we're born. We're given it when we lose our family members, and finally wraps us in our deathbed. We initiated Tobatanun in 2018 as a love letter to our people. It's now grown to be a social enterprise of predominantly young female associates dedicated to working and supporting the traditional textile community in the Lake Toba area. We have over 200 artisans and localpreneurs partner with us, and we work closely with local and national level government agencies to craft programs and policies accordingly. We can't speak for all experiences of women in North Sumatra, let alone Indonesia, so we hope we can offer some insight to the role of Batak women within their society, especially one whose livelihood depends on their craft, and how social enterprises like us is attempting to create a holistic support system to facilitate their growth into independent business owners. SMEs make up 99.9% of the Indonesian economy, and women make up the bulk of said SMEs, 64.5% to be exact. They absorb 97% of labor and make up 14% of exports. They're powerful movers and shakers, helping to build resilience in their own communities, as women are more likely to share their gains with their surroundings. They too make up most of the textile arts. In fact, 95% of our partners in Tobatanun are women. Still, they have little to no agency to their own craft. In Toba, third-party players, or toke, predominantly almost always men, often employ exploitative practices for the most efficient and quickest means of pay. They have limited access to raw materials, and innovation becomes stagnant due to them mainly filling in request orders. They are then simply laborers, not artisans, let alone entrepreneurs. Additionally, their livelihoods are impacted by their home life, with the majority being financial providers in their family, yet having no place in decision-making due to a rigid patriarchal clan system. I think it's important to always remember that woman-led entrepreneurship is not initiated in the same way in developed nations and developing ones. Maybe led from spirit, creativity, wants, and dreams in developed nations, but women's entrepreneurship in developing countries are tied to their socioeconomic status. It's driven by poverty, by widowhood, often by sheer necessity. Despite this, there's a lack of social and infrastructural support given to them in order to facilitate their entrepreneurial goals. Whether from social taboos or cultural biases, there's a significant lack of gender-sensitive understanding to building entrepreneurial spirit within a community. Importance of women entrepreneurs, whether small, middling, or larger, cannot be overstated, as economies can't develop without their contribution of half of its population. Unfortunately, in rural settings like ours in North Sumatra, advancement is difficult because of a shortage of skills, training, and relevant education. Cultural barriers also continue to hold back women, rendering globalization irrelevant to women whose livelihoods are still directly tied to said barriers. Even the rapid technological and digital transformation within business have little to no impact in places where digital illiteracy is still prevalent. Working to remedy that will take a lot of effort from all stakeholders, ones that we can only influence sparingly. Thus, a social enterprise like ours becomes a necessary facilitator for craftswomen and localpreneurs in rural areas in North Sumatra, not just in Indonesia, but around the world. Our work is not just monitoring and guidance, but to also assist in distribution and holistic soft skills building. Weavers don't work for us, but we're in partnership. They have both individual and collective bargaining power, as many are associated within their own cooperatives. Their woven fabrics are turned into ready-to-wear goods, where 10% of its profit goes back to the community house. In order to strengthen our programs, we encourage the creation of local agents of change, women who's undergone workshops, mentoring, leadership training, keen to be a role model in their own communities, encourage and empower, and perhaps we hope create their own businesses. They become actors of their own development. This kind of movement, where a collaborative effort is fundamental to our existence and growth, requires support on our part as well as a social enterprise. A focus on domestic growth is one thing, but we're firm believers that in an already very globalized setting, there should be no barriers to said growth. Finding other individuals who are working similarly to our line of work would be helpful not only to ourselves, but to inspire our artisans in their own desire for complete agency of their own art and business. Our work is important in the context of developing economies like Indonesia. Myself, as a woman entrepreneur occupying an urban space, is crucial in helping to uplift, elevate, and help create spaces for those in rural spaces to better their chances in building entrepreneurial spirit and a better chance to create their own businesses. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ibu Carri. Tobatenon is strongly committed to ensuring the development of local communities through social and women empowerment activities. Well, I would like to thank you all for being with us today and also for joining us on CDP Business Matching, where we can foster economic and commercial ties between Italian and foreign companies, also along the women's economic empowerment topic. And now for the conclusion of this event, I'm honored to invite with us from India, Pam Rajput, Women 20 India Head of Delegation, Women 7 Advisor, and co-chair of the Accountability Mechanism Working Group at Women 7. Dear Pam, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, I have a difficult task, and that task is to give concluding comments after such brilliant presentations. But let me take the opportunity first to thank Carlotta and CDP for organizing this event as well as this panel and inviting me. We heard 3 presentations from my sisters, Maria, Jyotika, and Carrie, sharing their success stories. And while I really admire the way they have gone ahead and established themselves, let me also say that in India, even today, you see this inheriting business by daughters is still something to be a reality in India. Now, of course, keep hearing every day these stories that the business is going to daughters also. So I'm very happy that Maria falls in that category. Jyotika and they have, really done wonders. But what I want to say is, and has been said in the previous panels also, and I want to correlate to that, we are talking about economic empowerment. And there's no doubt about it that economic empowerment is key to G20 per se and the sustainable development. So there are no 2 opinions, but when it comes to reality, we still have a long way to go. We know women are emerging as leaders in every sphere, and Italy has just now the women prime minister also. But still, I think our policies have to be translated into reality, and that reality, if we go on talking only about economic empowerment, unless it is coupled with, the financial commitments, and also it is coupled with doing away the socio-cultural constructs that come on the way, we, would say that we still have to go a long way. And I feel, of course, happy that in also we are talking about women. Our Prime Minister is, known for this, that he is talking about women-led development. So as we are talking about, women leading the companies, that when translated would really make a lot of difference. And the government also has many schemes, to encourage women entrepreneurs, to encourage women in MSMEs. It is going on, and some individual efforts like that of Jyotika are also on. But I also must say that the gender divide is still to be, is to be addressed. It is still over there. I was looking into the literature and trying to see how many women are there as founders. And I just noted that only 15% of the Indian unicorns, women founders for that matter. Their number is increasing, but it will take a long time because, as I said, there are barriers, there are constraints in every country, not, only Asian countries. It is there even with the European and the American countries also. So there is a social construct, and more than that, there is also financial construct that is important. And as a result of that, the discrimination continues to be there. And to me, it's a long time, going from bottom up to the pyramid. So raising funds is very, very important, and doing away with the biases is equally important. The scenario, as I said, is changing, but with these events, with the kind of sharing of these success stories, and I think these success stories should not be limited to these webinars. These success stories should be carried on to each and every school, each and every educational institution, each and every, at the grassroots level. And I do hope that with the kind of initiative that CDP is taking, or our own governments are taking, investing, the scenario will change. And but the rider race still have a long way to go. So if we want really the long way to cut short, the best is to invest in the women. And I do hope that with the kind of policies, with the kind of emphasis that is being made, be it at the G20 level, be it at the European level, the gender equity plan, or be it at the United Nations, the 21st century is our century, and we do hope that our younger daughters will make a in raising economic empowerment in reality for that matter. With these concluding observations, I would like to congratulate all the three sisters who made the presentation. I wish them success, and I'm sure they will carry many more along with them on the way that they have treaded the path, and the milestones will be covered, and they will help the younger generation to realize that 21st century is really their century. I congratulate CDP again and Carletta again for giving me the opportunity to say a few words. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pam. So women empowerment, again, is an economic imperative. Thank you for being with us today, for your inspiring words, and for bringing us these extremely important messages. Arrivederci.
Yeah, thank you, Carlotta, for having invited Pam Rajput today, because really we heard a lot of important words from her. She stressed how important it is to tell about success stories of women in the business sector, but she also said that the path is still long, and it's important to fight to bridge this gender gap. And it's important also to work on the financial point of view and on the educational point of view. So thank you for having invited Pam, really. And now I would like to remind everyone that the event doesn't finish here, because B2B sessions will start soon. For companies which have not yet organized their B2Bs, there is still time to arrange meetings by accepting the proposed matches you will find on your dashboard. And to facilitate your task in a few hours, you will receive the list of companies by email which attended the webinar, so you will be able to choose your preferred counterparts. I also invite you to come back on the platform to complete the profile and the brain pages to consent the algorithm to propose even more accurate matches for you. So feel free to contact us for any questions by phone or by email at any moment. I thank everybody who worked on the organization and promotion of this event. We will see each other soon to continue on this journey. The next thematic event will be dedicated to a business focus on growing together with the African continent on November the 16th. We will soon open the registration page.
Thank you again.
Goodbye, arrivederci.